Hey, greetings, everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West here, and welcome to the Steadfast and Loyal podcast.
You gotta light 'em up before they burn it down. Better dig deep and put 'em in the ground. Blood on their hands, they're hellbound. Save us all. Ooh, they're gonna burn it down. Save us all before they burn it down.
We're now in the month of June. And along with some of you all, we're seeing that word pride pop up everywhere, maybe too much. The last Monday in the month of May is Memorial Day, which began as Decoration Day in 1866. On that day, many Americans take time to remember the saying, all gave some and some gave all. It is somewhat amazing that we spend only one day taking pride in remembering the sacrifices of those who gave the last full measure of devotion and honoring them. Now we have the following month where the word pride is displayed everywhere, but for what purpose? Does it have to do with something that we widely admire? I want to reflect upon the things that have given me pride and would implore you to do the same in this month. A period of reflection if we really want to sit back and think about that word pride. But remember, it is not about, as Solomon would say, pride goeth before the fall. But what are the things that you have done or others have done for which you can find a wide and a great amount of admiration for it? I take pride in the fact that I was born in the inner city of Atlanta, Georgia, in a blacks-only hospital, Hugh Spalding. I grew up in the famed and historic Old Fourth Ward neighborhood, which was the home and final resting place of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I take pride in the fact that I had two parents who raised me. Two parents now buried together in an American national cemetery because of their service to our nation. I take pride in the fact that my parents sacrificed and ensured that I had a great early education, which set the conditions for me to be a fellow with a bachelor's degree and two master's degrees. This especially in a time when only 24% of young black kids have a mother and a father in the home. Many of our young black children cannot read or do math at grade level, something that no one should take pride in nor advocate for the policies that created that travesty. I take pride that my dad served the country at a time when the country did not serve him. Through his example and service in a segregated army, he inspired subsequent generations to follow that example. I was proud when my older brother volunteered to serve as a United States Marine Corps infantryman and fought in Vietnam, something that there were some who did not widely admire. I take pride in the fact that my dad challenged me to be the first officer in our family, and I will never forget July the 31st of 1982 when his dream for me came to fruition, and it was the only time I ever saw tears in my dad's eyes because he was proud. I take pride in having been born in Georgia, educated at the University of Tennessee, a volunteer for life, and now a proud resident of Texas. If you know your Texas history, many Georgians and Tennesseans played a vital role in the birth of the Republic of Texas. I take pride in being a black conservative and that Booker T. Washington is my ideological mentor. His book, Up From Slavery, inspired me to write We Can Overcome, an American Black Conservative Manifesto. I take pride in following the path set for me by men like Congressman Josiah T. Walls, the first black Republican member of Congress from Florida, 1873 to 1876, and Norris Wright Cooney, the first black chairman of the Republican Party of Texas, 1886 to 1896. Two positions that I was honored to hold in my life. In this month, I will take pride in being in the stands to watch my nephew, my older brother's son, Lieutenant Colonel Herman Bernard West III, Take command of an artillery battalion just as he did, watching this Lieutenant Colonel Alan Bernard West take command of an artillery battalion 21 years ago at Fort Hood, Texas. Even though they've changed the name, it's still Fort Hood, Texas to me. I take pride in being married to my wife, Dr. Angela Graham West, Ph.D., a highly educated woman, for going on 34 years and remembering the day she became an American citizen. That little girl from Jamaica whose dad is buried in Arlington National Cemetery, well, she cried with pride as she became an American. I take pride in the two daughters, Aubrey Elizabeth and Austin Brianna, whom we have raised and are now succeeding in their own right. It is a matter of pride knowing that between them they possess 1 associate's degree, 2 bachelor's degrees, and 3 master's degrees. It's truly a matter of pride to have been there for their births and supporting life, born and unborn. Now, Angela and I take pride in having joined the ranks of the honored title grandparents, watching our little Jackson Bernard grow. I think we may be in for a surprise later on this year, for which we will have increased pride, because we think we have a daughter that's holding back some news. I take pride in knowing that my life has been, is, and shall be defined by my oath to support and defend our Constitution, that I am among the ranks of those who are the real 1%ers, the guardians of the American Republic. I have been provided the privilege of serving this nation in uniform and also in civilian clothes. See, my pride does not come from an ideological agenda or personal behavior. My real and true pride is rooted in being a citizen of the greatest nation that the world has ever known. It is not based upon personal conditions, such as when former First Lady Michelle Obama stated that for the first time in her life, she felt pride in being an American because of her husband's rise to be president. I do not think that there is any pride in being a subpar male athlete whose delusional assertions that they are female and achieves awards and by beating real biological females. I classify that as selfish cowardice. I do not find it a matter of pride to affirm a serious mental condition for our children and promote body mutilation and physiological altering drugs. I do not find it a matter of pride to expose our children to adults presenting themselves in a highly offensive and sexual manner. I do not believe it is a matter of pride to subject our children to the perverse desires of adults. These are certainly not any achievements that are widely admired, nor is Dylan Mulvaney, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, or the North American Man-Boy Love Association, NAMBLA. In this month of June, I will take pride in the 248th birthday of my United States Army, which is also Flag Day. You know, the flag that draped the coffins of my mom, dad, father-in-law, and then one day shall be draped over mine. Somehow we have allowed this month to be defined or redefined into some deranged hedonistic month of debauchery. Yes, I take pride in knowing that I have the freedom of speech and expression to say just that. And I'll continue to say just that. I am quite sure there are real fascists out there who would seek to shut down my voice. They exist. But that ain't happening. Or as we say down south, that dog don't hunt. In this month of June, ask yourself, what gives you pride? Is it something that can be widely admired or just limited to a small group of ideologues? See, pride is about taking honor in something that you have achieved, which can be widely admired and served a far greater purpose than your own personal indulgences. Now, if this little monologue upsets you, well, those of you that are listening who haven't turned it off, I'm going to remind you of one of my dad's sayings. He used to say that a hit dog will holler. And if you listen to these words, I think there are going to be a few out there that are hollering and screaming very loudly. I'm never going to stop saying the truth. I'm not never going to stop saying what needs to be said. I don't care how much you scream or yell or whatever. I don't believe that man should be making the decision to reverse what God has done, because God has made us in his own image, male, female, man, woman. I'm not saying that you don't have a right to go out and do what you're doing, but I'm saying that I don't have to partake in it. I don't have to agree with it, because I have a right to say no for my family, for me, and in my own life. But I want you to understand something, that if you want to respond with vitriol and disparaging words, it does not bother me whatsoever. And I admonish you, Antifa, James Revenge, all of those out there that seek to use violence as a means to coerce people, to intimidate them, as a means of threatening them. Don't do that. Because there are many of us, many Americans, that don't want to afford us the opportunity of displaying the pride that we have in our self-defense abilities. This month should be a month where, if anything, ponder what pride is for you. And ask yourself, are the things that you take pride in the things that you are more than honored to openly share with others, that others can admire you for, and that others can truly celebrate with you? This June, Flag Day, I am disgusted that the American flag was made subservient to a flag of perversion. And oh, by the way, that whole thing about the rainbow, that has nothing to do with sexual behavior. It has everything to do with the promise that God made to man. Steadfast and loyal.
Before they burn it down.